Hey everyone, welcome to Nicola Valley Talk. It's a product of the Experience Nicola Valley program. Our talk show called Nicola Valley Talk is broadcast every Thursday on our Experience Nicola Valley Facebook page. I am your host, Jano Howarth, and I'm the arts and culture blogger for the Experience Nicola Valley. Tonight, we're going to talk about a very important small industry in our community, beekeeping, and focus on one of the several beekeeping businesses in the Nicola Valley, the Grimshire Apiary. So our special guest tonight is Diana Grimshire, and she runs and owns the company with her husband, Bruce. Diana is a weaver and part of the fiber arts group in town, but what she sells in our shop is her company's honey products, beeswax candles, and other items Diana will tell us about tonight. So let's bring Diana on and learn a little bit more about her business and what she's up to here in the Valley. Okay, Diana, welcome to Nicola Valley Talk.
Oh, thank you, Jano.
It's really great to have you here. We've worked together for a while now, and it's really been a pleasure. But I'm looking forward to hearing a little bit more about the work that you do and the company you have. Share with us and our listeners a little about who are Diana and Bruce, and how long have you been in the Valley?
Well, my husband manages a dairy operation in Sunshine Valley, so just out of Merritt towards Spence's Bridge. And we've lived here for quite a few years. But in the Valley, Bruce was actually born and raised here. They moved away for a few years to ranch in another area. And then when our kids were small, we moved back and lived up Coldwater Road for about 15 years, working on a ranch up there. So our kids all went to school here. We've been here many, many years.
And how do you like it in the Valley?
Oh, we love it.
Yeah. You have a beautiful place, lots of wonderful photos that you post. So tell us about the Grimshire Apiary. How long have you been in business?
Well, I was just thinking about that this morning. So it's been 10 years this year. So in May of last year, or May of 10 years ago, my dad had a couple of hives when I was young. And Bruce and I had always talked about maybe getting bees, but we were so busy with kids in sports and 4-H, and Bruce's job is always busy. It doesn't matter what ranch you work for, you're busy all the time.
Yeah.
So we just couldn't ever fit it in. And then about 10 years ago, we realized that, our kids had all kind of moved on and they all had their own lives and we weren't running around every weekend. And we thought, now we could have bees. So we bought 2 nukes from Meg and Alan Paulson at Nicola Valley Honey, and they wouldn't sell us bees until we'd taken a beginner course.
Yeah.
So it just turned out we phoned Meg and said, Meg, can we buy 2 nukes? And she said, not until you've taken this course that starts on Thursday. So we went to Kamloops every Thursday or Tuesday, I think it was actually, most of the winter, spring time, and took a course with Ian Farber in Kamloops, and then Megan Allen would sell us some hives, and we got those 2 nukes and haven't looked back. We've just enjoyed it, and it's a very addictive little hobby.
Yeah.
You start with 2, and all of a sudden you've got 4, then you've got 6, and then you've got 8, and then you've got 4, and so just it's just been fun.
That's really interesting that you started out sort of getting your hives from Meg and Alan, because we've just known them in the community for so long, and so that's those kind of connections are interesting. What do you produce?
Well,
I mean, I know you have honey. We know you've got some really great different kinds of honey. Just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we produce obviously honey, of course. It's the number one byproduct of having bees. And most hives produce honey. Some years you'll get a hive that doesn't, or for whatever reason. But we also, when you've got honey, then of course you've got cappings wax for making beeswax candles. And we also raise some queens to sell locally or to requeen our own hives. And I do make different flavors of honey. I do mix an organic cinnamon in with some honey, and maybe a lemon ginger honey sometimes, and those sorts of things. And we sell nukes also. So we, like Megan Allen sold us nukes, we will sell other beekeepers nukes.
Nukes.
So nukes are just a very small hive. It's a queen and usually 4 frames of bees and brood to get somebody started.
Yeah.
And because they build up so nicely in the spring, you usually get them in the spring, and then by fall you've got a viable, strong hive.
Yeah, okay, that's very interesting. I know that like through this talk and what we're going to chat about shortly, I'm going to be learning quite a lot about beekeeping that I didn't know before. With what you produce, tell us, where can we get some? Where can we
Well,
get some of the products?
we sell every Saturday. We're at the farmers market behind Bailey House, and we sell at the Courthouse Art Gallery. We have honey there, and we also sell at we have some honey at Left Field Cider.
Okay, so you're really busy. I know, taking your product around. I know some of the things that we've heard for sure about bees is kind of the state of the bees in the world right now. Can you comment on that, like from your angle? Any suggestions for people? I know there's a little trouble. Where does that show up for you?
Well, the biggest problem for us would be the varroa mite, and everybody has the varroa mite, so we all have the same struggles with that nasty little parasite that lives on our bees in the cells, the brood cells of our hives. And it's just a matter of managing it. We never get rid of it, but we can manage them so the bees can, still survive with a small mite load. So that's our objective, is to lessen the load. When we talk about the state of the bees, in our area, we have to remember that bees are honeybees are an introduced species.
Hmm.
So we actually need to be very careful, that we don't overwhelm our area. For Bruce and I, to not overwhelm one area with our honeybees, so it's detrimental to the native pollinators in the area that live here all the time and are struggling, to live off the same nectar sources that our bees are collecting so that we can sell honey. So, but in other parts of the world, even in other parts of Canada, the struggle is maybe pesticides, whatever the fungicides are spraying on the crops that people are taking their bees to pollinate, those sorts of things. So while we don't see a lot of that in the Nicola Valley, because there isn't a lot of spraying, there isn't a lot of intensive monocultures that go on for, acres and acres and acres. And we have a pretty diverse nectar source here. So, we have maybe a field that's planted to alfalfa, but the hillsides are all still wildflowers and sages and herb kind of plants and stuff. So I think the bees are, obviously healthier on that sort of thing. But, when we have a wreck, so say we have a winter survivability problem, it's usually beekeeper error in our case that, we didn't get them treated for mites soon enough. We didn't leave them enough feed. We didn't, take the care that we maybe should have taken. The
Yeah.
bees are doing the best they can
Yeah.
in an area where they were maybe never meant to be,
Yeah.
kind of deal. So that's our struggle. But, our bees have done very well the last few winters. And we have, a good honey crop, during the summer. So, and I think most beekeepers in the interior feel that way. It's it's not like going to the coast where they're on crops that have been sprayed so heavily that you just never know whether you're going to get a viable hive when you bring it home
Mhm,
again
mhm.
in the fall.
Yeah. Well, you definitely have some great products that we enjoy, and you do different sort of forms of honey, like the creamed honey and honey with ginger and in it, and honey with a little bit of honeycomb. And I notice you've got a really nice creamed honey there, and the beeswax as well. And we'll be interested to learn all the different uses for the beeswax, all these things that our sort of mothers taught us when we had beeswax around the house. Now you'll notice I've got your phone number up there. That's a way that you can be reached. Also, you are very active on Facebook and Instagram, and you have a Twitter account as well. And these are all under the name Grimshire Apiary. Is that right?
Yes. So
Yeah.
Instagram and Facebook are our main, how we keep in touch and kind of let people know what we're doing. And Twitter, I'm very random on Twitter because it
Okay.
drives me crazy.
Yeah.
so I try to stay away from Twitter, but the other two, if you like to see what's going on in a hive, you like to see what people are doing, then those are kind of fun ones to be on.
Yeah, I really appreciate those. You have sort of photos and information and related information about bees in general. And I know personally that you have taken off to an interesting conference or two over the last while, and kind of get immersed in the whole sort of bee topic. So it's great to stay informed like that.
Yeah, we really like to go to conventions, and it's been hard this year with COVID. Everything's canceled. So this spring it was like, well, we're not going to hear how everybody else made out this winter, and because you go to the spring meetings for the BC honey producers, and last fall we went to Apiaries in Montreal, which is an international beekeeping convention, and it was just fabulous. I mean, lots of it's overwhelming because it's for, the information is for beekeepers much larger than ourselves.
Yeah,
Their businesses are much larger, but you can always get a little something out of everything.
yeah,
And I'm the
yeah.
worst one for coming home with 50 new
Yeah.
ideas of something we're going to try. Oh, we should try this. We should try that. We don't need to try everything.
But pick and choose through them. I imagine the collaboration with Bruce is helpful for that. So
Yes.
you mentioned the COVID. How has COVID-19 affected your business? And now that we've been living with it for a while, is it changing?
Yes. And so for us to be a small local business in a town like Merritt, I mean, this valley has stepped up to really support
Yeah,
local, and everybody helping everybody out. And so our business, we've we've come through very well. I mean, people drop their buckets on my front step and they come back when they're full, or so it's it's been awesome how the community supports small business in this town. And I mean, when the farmers market first started this year, it could only be food vendors, so there was two of us at the market and then it opened up a bit, and now people are coming out. I mean, the the farmers market this year is quite fabulous
oh,
because
wow.
again, people are supporting
Yeah,
local.
yeah. And people want to get out and they want to be with other people, and they can do that in an outdoor setting and be safe. Well, definitely at the courthouse gallery, we were closed down for that very careful period, so it was over a month, and then in May, when we started to open up really carefully, we hadn't let people know that we were open, but they could see the car there and the doors open. What we sold that month was honey. People came in to fill up their cupboards. They just had missed it over that time, and that's what we sold. Now we've gone on now, so that they're purchasing other things too. But I just thought that was really neat. And as we know, honey plays a big part in people's lives. There's so much health to it. It's a very interesting product in itself. Than an item for sure. So really glad that you were so supported by the community. That's good to know, because I know there's having the community rally around is good. So speaking of bees, we decided, Jen Art of Bees had the idea last year, or a few months ago, to have a bee show this summer, and we jumped on that. And I'm really happy to say that we're the bee show. We've done the collection for what's going to be up in the gallery tomorrow, and I'm setting it up today. And you've been in and out with your bee paraphernalia and in posters for us to learn from. And Diana, tell us some of the ways you're going to be involved in this bee show.
Well, donating things, or lending things for the show. And I find everything to do with bees interesting. So of course I think, because I find it interesting, everybody else will find it interesting as well. So I collect bits and pieces and stuff. So a few of those pieces will be in the show. And then on opening night, we'll bring in a observation hive so people can see what's going on in the hive, and pick out some different brood cells, maybe see the queen if she consents to come up in to be looked at. And it's just all very interesting.
Yeah, it is. It is fascinating. And because we have several beekeepers in the valley, it's good for the public to have that little more in-depth knowledge about what's going on. Like I said, I expect to learn a lot. I'm gathering some new vocabulary. I'm listening to podcasts, so I'm a little bit knowledgeable when I'm there. I'm listening to the Bloomberg Bee Economy, and it's just really fascinating to hear about it. I mean, we grow up in the interior of BC, and it's very common to have apiaries and beekeepers around, and always have honey on our shelves for sure. So I want to, I'd really appreciate that you're coming into the to help us display, to tell people about what's going on, that reception. Although our show opens on this Friday, which is the 17th of July, our reception is next week on Thursday night from 4 to 7. And we'll just be encouraging people to keep the COVID-19 protocols. But you'll be there, and some of the artists will be there, and we'll have a chance to share some stories. Evelyn Armstrong was in yesterday bringing items that she's had around, been beekeeping for a long time, and we know that all of you have some very interesting sort of beekeeping stories in our Nicola Valley here. So it's going to be pretty interesting, and I'm looking forward to that. So did you have any last thing that you want to say here, Diana, before we sign off and get busy with our evening?
I don't think so. Just, yeah, I think just to come and check out the things in the show and meet some local beekeepers. I mean, there are a lot of us in this valley. I don't think anybody realizes how many people have bees in the valley. So it'll be interesting. Hopefully some people will come down and you can meet the beekeepers.
Yes. Yeah, we're looking forward to that, and it's nice that you and Sarah are reaching out. Okay, so thank you, Diana, for appearing on Nicola Valley Talk with me tonight.
Well, thank you for having me.
And I'm going to click you out here and say goodbye to everybody and let them know what's coming up. So we'll see you very soon, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. So this is a hive, a field of hives at the Grimshire Apiary, not the only one, as Diana mentions. Just a beautiful valley for all of the endeavors that we have, and for those who sort of live out in the fields and meadows with the trees around. Just beautiful. So I want to say thank you to our guest tonight, Diana Grimshire, who with her husband Bruce runs the Grimshire Apiary in the beautiful Nicola Valley. And my name is Jano Howarth. I am your co-host of Nicola Valley Talk, another program of the Experience Nicola Valley bloggers. So come and join us every Thursday at 7 p.m. on Facebook, the Experience Nicola Valley talk page. And next week, on Nicola Valley Talk, our co-host Tanya Stewart will have a special guest, and I hope to see you soon. Remember, use your creativity in whatever you love to do. And thank you.